How are you feeling?
Okay, as you can see, we're live on YouTube, Mayor.
Okay, so I wanted to welcome everyone to the first meeting of the Board of Trustees and Mayor of the Village of Port Jefferson for conducting business in the new year of 2022. We have our board in attendance, Attorney Egan, Administrator Palumbo, and Clerk Sakovich, and our Treasurer Denise Mordente. We're here to do the business portion of the meeting. We have an agenda to review, and we open that agenda.
Just a courtesy.
Okay, so we usually open up the meetings with the Pledge of Allegiance, but we'll usually have a guest attendance person helping us with that, but we're gonna move right into the meeting this evening because we've moved back to a Zoom platform and we're all kind of getting our feet wet again with the Zoom. I know for me, I had to find all my equipment and set it up again and get myself a little bit more comfortable here. So first matter of business is to approve the minutes from the meeting in December, which I was absent. And so I'd like to ask the Deputy Mayor, Kathy Ann Snaden, to walk us through those minutes and make a motion to approve in my absence.
I'm having computer problems right now.
Uh-oh, see?
Yeah, that's why it kicked me off.
So Stan, you have your minutes up in front of you?
I do, and the minutes are fine, and I would like to make a motion.
Thank you.
Second,
And Rebecca and Kathy Ann, did you have a chance to review the minutes? Okay, good, okay.
Yeah, I did. Everything looked fine for me.
Okay, and I
Go ahead.
have to abstain because I was not present. You got that, Barb? Okay, good. All right, so moving that.
Before we start, I'm having like tons of trouble. Everybody's cutting out. Kevin, could I ask you to resend me the link so I can get on with my cell phone? I'm going to sign off the computer and back on. if
I'll
that's
do
all
that
right.
now. I'll do
Thank
that
you.
now.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, I could actually hear the feedback from Kathy Ann's computer. Okay, second matter is some initiatives. I know we've been looking to get some surveys done on some parcels in the village that we're currently doing some work on. So we have a couple proposals here forwarded by Administrator Palumbo, who's been working with various surveyors, getting estimates from them. And so 2 and 3 are to approve the work with Land Design Associates to survey some very important parkland that we have that we don't have updated surveys and, more importantly, topographical surveys. And the first one's for the country club. And Joe, if you could just remind us, this is going from the west side beyond the 4 upper tennis courts all the way to where the clubhouse is, beyond to the east side where the lower 4 tennis courts are. Is that correct?
Correct. Just that area there where the parking lot is, the 2 tennis courts on the west and east side, and the building, and also up to the beach.
Yeah, okay. And this survey is really important to us because we're looking at potentially expanding our recreational amenities on the westerly side. As we've been hearing a lot of discussion with the tennis membership, et cetera. We needed to make sure we have proper drainage in place, et cetera. And then, of course, we have the important bluff project, and we're looking at installing new drainage on the easterly side by the lower tennis court. So this topographical survey is key to that engineering and that planning. Likewise, Rebecca has been chairing a committee to work on the Highlands Boulevard Parkland 6-acre parcel. And part of that is to get a baseline topographical survey for that parcel. And so that survey will also provide, and Joe, correct me if I'm wrong, did we go for marking out utilities on the 6-acre Highland survey?
Yes, we did. It was included in Land Design's proposal.
Good, so that'll show us where on that 6-acre parcel, within the roadway, we have some utility hookups and things of that might, impact the parcel in time. So with our approval tonight, the surveyor can get to work, and hopefully we'll have documents in hand within 4 to 6 weeks, which is good. We have the rocket ship bathrooms, that capital project underway. This is an upgrade to the project for some electrical work that needs to be done. So Wellsback is our contracted electrician. So this is a good price, correct, Joe?
Yes, it is.
Question?
Yep.
Are we still talking about topos? I mean, what, Rocket Ship Park, are we doing a topo on that, or are we, that's the former Gap parking lot, or what are we? What's the third one?
There are only two topographical surveys.
All right,
Bruce, if you look at your agenda, those items 2 and 3, those are for topographical surveys for the country club and for the Highland 6-acre parcel.
all right, okay, very good. We had conversations on that other thing a while back. Thank you.
You're welcome. Number 4 is to approve some electrical upgrades to the rocket ship bathrooms that we're upgrading to add some heat elements so that we don't have to winterize those bathrooms and we can keep them open year round. Number 5, as everybody knows, we had some major storm damage in several areas, one being down at West Beach. We had a bit more of a blowout at the bottom of the road there. And we have a proposal from DF Stone. They are on the town's bid list to repair that stormwater washout for this price of almost $30,000. Joe's been working with DEC and DF Stone. And Joe, if you have anything you want to add to that?
Yeah, so this one here, this is for the repair of the washout at West Beach. Okay, because we have another one for DF Stone. I think it's item number 11. So this one here, I received 3 quotes because a lot of the items that were being proposed were not on the town contract. And DF Stone, they were very close. It was 29.30, and I think the third one was 32. But DF Stone was the lowest bidder for this particular project. So that's why we went out to get 3 quotes for this particular project.
Question?
All right. Yeah, Bruce?
Is there anything in this bid, these bids that deflects water sideways that comes rushing down the hill?
No,
I
there's
think
not. This is to repair the sand dune on the north side of the new wall that was installed a few months back.
All right, just once again, a very minimal cost involved for some possible valuable protection. Enough said.
Question,
Yes, Dan?
are we getting any refunds, FEMA or anything back on
Right.
this?
Right, so we have an application into FEMA for all the damage that the village sustained during Hurricane Ida. We have weekly or biweekly calls with them. They're asking for additional information. We continue to provide them with the information that they're requesting. It is our hope, as it was with Hurricane Isaiah, that we will be reimbursed. It is our hope that we will be reimbursed for this storm as well.
Right.
The unfortunate thing, well, fortunate and unfortunate. Fortunate is they pay up to 75%. Unfortunate is that we will be possibly out of pocket 25%.
Right, but in order to complete the repair, we have to be out of pocket and then we get
Correct.
reimbursed.
Correct.
But yeah, so we've been working very closely and it's Isaias and Joe, correct me if I'm wrong. What was it? It's Ida and then we also had Isaias, correct? Prior
Correct.
or
So they reimbursed us for Isaias,
okay.
for the debris removal, and items like that. We're still waiting to hear back from them with respect to our application for funding, to help stabilize the bluff.
Right.
We made the same application here for Ida because it just, the bluff sustained more damage during that storm. It continues to.
Right.
And we'll continue to, provide them with as much information as we possibly can so we can get some type of assistance to stabilize the bluff.
Okay, so we would probably say this is a pretty good track record with them, and a very good paper trail with us informing them all along about these beaches now and the damages that we've incurred. So I can't imagine that we won't get something for the West Beach project, and all projects. Just depends on how much and how quick.
I would agree. I would agree with that.
Yeah, good. No, thank you. I know.
I hope we didn't jinx it.
No, I'm sorry. I'm gonna knock on all the wood around me right now. But I know how hard you work with these agencies. They are not easy. They make you fill out tons of paperwork, and then the next week they're asking you to redo it and fill out more paperwork. So it's an arduous task. Very fortunate to have you, Joe, working with these agencies, and I want to commend you for that work. And on behalf of all the residents here, they need to know how hard you work there.
Well, thank you. And I do not do it alone. There are department heads that provide information, and Nicole assists as well. So
Good. Well,
thanks to them as well.
we are a team, so thanks for reminding me. We have JR Consulting Engineers to assist the building department with review of various applications. We do not have our building inspector, and so we need to make sure that the applications coming in, whether it's a simple application for solar panels or a much more complex application for an addition to a home or the development of a larger project, are moving in a timely manner. So I think bringing on the consulting company to help assist the the planning and building department up the hill is a great thing to do and help keep the residents' applications. And I want to apologize for the residents for the backlog. We had a situation we're working on resolving up in the building and planning department, but bringing on JRH Holtzmacher is basically going to help us keep progress moving forward on a more consistent basis now. So this is definitely part of that process up the hill. We are looking at rehiring building inspectors. I'll probably have another report for you at the next week. It's not easy when you're looking at replacing a civil service position. You have civil service rules and lists and things that you have to abide by before you can actually hire a qualified candidate. Number 7, I'm moving along. This is a hazardous waste operations and emergency response program. Basically, it's an outline, a protocol, which we've more or less have been following. Maybe not to the letter, maybe not to the exact outline, but again, working very closely with the village's insurance company. We have to have this policy in place. And again, something Joe brings to the table, working with the insurance company and the Department of Public Works. And Barbara, thank you for helping them do all the training on the emergency protocols and things that they have to, adhere to in order for us to be in compliance. So do anybody want to expand on this? Rebecca, you have a question?
I have a question, yeah. And so based on an incident that happened about a year ago, I was made aware that our village does not have anyone on staff who can clean up bio waste, like biohazard, so human waste, which with all of our parks and playgrounds and all of this, it seemed that we didn't have a protocol in place for that. And while I hope that never happens, that doesn't stop things from happening. So I wondered if we were looking at that with this program, having a plan for human waste cleanup.
So what's going to happen is now that we have this policy in place, and this is a federal guideline, it basically will now provide our staff with the ability to identify and manage a situation where there is hazardous material or some type of spill in a facility or around a facility. We will get training now on staff, like we do for all our other programs like sexual harassment and other training and policies that we have. So that's something we'll ask the trainer if it's part of this program. And if it's not, we can certainly look at additional training for DPW or Parks Department or whoever else in that regard.
Thank you.
Yeah, I would imagine in the interim, we would probably call on an outside agency, just to also protect our own crew from
Correct.
any harm's way.
There are restoration companies out there that we can contact and to assist in that manner.
Number 8, we have a a low bid of 15,000 from Camco Masonry to replace the stairs at the 8th tee box. And down to the 7th green. This is the type of work that typically takes place over the winter months on the course. Stan, you want to expand on this project at all?
Yes, that estimate that Brian sent through was a little difficult to read, so I'm going to explain it. As you said, it's a presently 19 stairs leading down from the 8th tee box down to the 7th green. There's 2 landings. There's 9 steps, a landing, and then there's some more steps, another landing, and there's a platform at the bottom. So they're going to be replacing those stairs with stone set in concrete. They're going to be building a paver pathway to the stairs. And at the bottom, there will be a platform approximately 4 by 8 feet at the end of the stairway.
And so this includes removal of all the existing railroad tie and,
Removing everything that's there now that's very deteriorated. The railroad ties are beyond repair.
I have to tell you, I think these are good prices, knowing how expensive labor is right now, materials, concrete, and knowing that the length and the height of those stair systems, this is a great price. So thank you for doing that due diligence.
And is that something that the country club ends up paying for, or is that coming? Yeah.
Yeah, no, it comes out of the country club's capital account. So, and as I noted with the treasurer, Denise and I and Joe and Barbara met, and Kathy Ann about 2 months ago, we were looking at our capital accounts. We're going to reconvene because most of these projects, the soft money, Rebecca, we got some parkland money from one of our developers recently. We're putting aside that money to help, with the 6-acre project, and also some of these country club initiatives will be coming out of the country club monies. So, we will identify the capital lines once that capital sheet is updated. But yeah, these types of improvements come out of the country club's capital account. We have unfortunately, a resignation from Thomas Rubino. Is Thomas relocating, or did he go to a different employer?
He relocated. He went
Yeah.
down south.
Right, he's a great employee. I think his wife also retired from, was it Math or St. Charles?
She didn't retire. She got a position. I think she's looking down south as well.
Okay, well, I wish the family all the luck and thank Tom for his years of service to the village. We have Mr. Martin Badina, who is our maintenance mechanic, promoting him to maintenance mechanic 3. Barb, did we do that already, or was this a correction?
At
For
the
two-
December meeting, he was promoted. We thought he came in as a 1. We had hired him already as a 2. So
Okay.
this is just a correction up to a 3. It's only a $56 annual difference. It was just it's a title, a 2 to a 3.
Okay, thank you. Is that really true? $56?
Yeah, because based on the union contract, based on when you get a promotion, he has to make at least a $1,500 increase, which we did at the December meeting. But I
Okay.
just had to correct the title, so I had to change it to the tier that matched. So from the December to now, it's a minimal
Okay,
increase.
thank you. Crossing T's and dotting I's over there. That's what I like about you guys. Yet another proposal here from DF Stone. This is a small amount of money compared to what it's going to cost to repair this discharge basin that was completely blown out by Hurricane Ida. So Joe, you want to talk about this a little bit? I think this was just to clean up the street and everything, right?
Right. So this one here is a small recharge basin at the bottom of Oakwood and Winston and Crystal Brook. A lot of debris material that came from the recharge basin further up Oakwood off of Old Post wound up filling up that recharge basin down on Oakwood and Crystal Brook. Also pushed the gate over, ripped out some trees and things like that. So this is to get in there. They're going to clean out some of the sediment that collected in that recharge basin. They're going to repair the fence or replace the fence, regrade, and move out anything that just wound up against the fence there.
Okay.
But as you
And-
said, the real cost is going to come to repair that other recharge basin.
Can you tell me about the status of the paving? Has it been done? Because I've been a little.
Paving is complete. Reeves is done. Oakwood is done. Once we get the DEC permit for West Beach, we'll be able to do that work. This work can start. They'll probably do this work at the same time they do West Beach.
Okay,
And then what's left would be, stabilization of the bluff and the larger recharge basin off of Old Homestead.
okay, thank you.
Question, Joe?
Yes.
I see that they've marked out for striping on Oakwood. Are they gonna stripe that?
Mean the center lane?
Yeah, they have yellow squares all the way down the road. I'm just
Yeah,
wondering if they're,
Oh,
No
you're
problem.
they're talking about striping the street. I thought you were talking about this proposal here that we're looking at. Yes, they will eventually restripe the street there. They wanted to make sure they put the markouts there so people know that is a two-way street. Depending on the weather, that's where
Right.
we run into a situation where the paint doesn't stick. So if the temperatures do not increase for a certain period of time, this restriping or full restriping will probably not happen until springtime. But they will try and get out there and restripe as soon as they can.
thanks, Joe.
You're welcome.
Yeah, in the meantime, those middle markers just say, hey, this is a two-lane road and stay on your side. We have claims as presented by the treasurer's office and approved by our internal claims auditor, Dave Carlson, who, by the way, I found out during the Dickens Festival prior to my falling down the stairs episode at the Residence Night, which, by the way, was so freaking awesome, that Dave Carlson is a bell ringer. And he actually has a bell choir.
Really?
Yeah, we're going to get him to participate. Yes, I know, right, Denise?
I
was
didn't know
like,
that about him.
yeah, I know, it's great. We're going to get him. I of course, pulled him in right immediately to say, hey, Dave, then we're going to get you guys involved in the Dickens next year. But
Awesome.
Dave has signed off on everything, and I did review the warrants, and I extend my offer to review, with Rebecca, Kathy Ann, at any time, how to review the warrants and make sure, we know what we're looking at, because basically Dave is making sure that, all of the policies that the village has for procurement and purchasing are in place and approving them. But sometimes where our questions are, wait, why are we spending the money on that? Where'd the money come from? Those types of questions. So especially as we get into the budget process this year moving forward, those questions become important. Denise, was there anything that you wanted to point out to us? Anything that you wanted to highlight?
No, just a couple of capital projects that were done that were approved. Nothing out of the ordinary.
Yeah, it looked like a reasonable warrant to me. So also Barbara, I'm not sure, and Denise, if we're going to be circulating our spending freeze policy again, now that we've gone kind of going back into these Zoom sessions means that basically, the next couple of months, there's a lot of uncertainty out there. When things go dark again, we lose a lot of program money. We lose a lot of opportunity money that would normally otherwise be out there. We rent the village center for programs and events, and we've lost a lot of that revenue last year because we didn't have those programs or events. So we're just going to be asking our department heads to anything above $500 has to be approved by Joe, myself, and our Barbara. So if you as a department head get a request for approval on expenditure, make sure it goes through the rest of the gatekeepers, because we have an obligation to make sure that now we're into month 7. We got 5 more months. And we need to come back out in the end of May in a very strong position again, because even though 2021 turned out to be a rather, a good year, we came out of that pandemic, in the early months of 2021, we came out strong, and we did really well because we had a spending freeze in place most of the time during that pandemic. I want to make sure that we're not, entering back into a reverse situation. So let's make sure the memo goes out before.
I'll send it out in the morning. Yep.
All right, thank you so much. I think those are all the initiatives that we have tonight. So there are 12 resolutions to approve. Are there any further questions on those 12? All right, so is there a motion to approve 1 through 12?
I'll make that motion.
Motion by Kathy Ann Snaden, seconded by trustee Laux. All in favor? Aye. Great. Folks, I know we're looking at going into our budget cycle again. The big projects that are coming up are really projects that go sometimes way beyond the scope of what a small village expects to have to deal with. But when you have a coastal village next to, 4 linear mile of beach and a lot of wetlands and severe weather events and, a very shallow water table because we were Drowned Meadow back in the day. We're looking at some major projects and, we're probably going to have a lot more to discuss at the next board meeting. We did put the Bluff project out to bid. We did get our bids back. We are discussing now with the engineering company and having certain questions that were raised answered. We do have a low bidder who we are communicating with. The numbers are staggering. Steel, the cost of construction, this cost of labor has gone through the ceiling. We're in a tough situation, but we have an obligation to preserve and protect. So you'll have a full report from Joe, myself, Stan, and Denise, probably within a week or so for us to deliberate and make some tough decisions. I also wanted to add that, 2021 was, not your typical year. And it was really, really great to see us get back to some of our traditions, getting out to sail together again. That was fantastic, getting out to do some of the outdoor programs that we enjoyed. Unfortunately, I only got not even halfway past Saturday on Dickens before I had an accident and fell down a flight of stairs and ended up with my broken leg. But, I think that the goodwill that I felt and the participation and the passion that I felt from our residents on resident night was overwhelming. I don't really think we've seen that level of participation and good feeling and people coming out and so happy to see one another and participate and ice skate, and people who weren't even skating just coming down and saying hello, because we hadn't seen each other in quite some time. So it was great to feel that village vibe, which I think we were all kind of missing. And I'm hoping that, these next couple months, we're going to continue to grind and work hard. And hopefully when the better weather comes out again, we're going to be in a stronger position to rebound even harder. But we have some work to do. And, the work is, it feels like a grind, especially when the sun goes down at 4:30 and, the sun doesn't come up till almost 7 o'clock in the morning. It's a typically hard grind, but we're entering into that cycle with the budget, and I will be working with the treasurer and department heads and Barbara and Joe, and each one of you moving forward. So with that, just want to move on to Kathy Ann and see if Kathy Ann, you have anything you want to report?
Nothing in particular to report tonight, Mayor.
I know that we've just gone back to our Zoom, so usually we have a chief Root with us in Suffolk County. I'm not sure if they're going to be participating with us at 7 p.m.
7 p.m. Yes.
All right, so as part of the public session, but I look forward to seeing them, and if there's any questions that the public has for our code enforcement and Suffolk County, they can be addressed at 7 p.m. Bruce, trustee Miller.
Suffolk won't be here. That's my understanding tonight.
Suffolk won't be here tonight. Moving forward, they'll be participating with us.
Yes.
So,
Okay.
Greetings. I've had a conversation with Bob Foxon. He had prepared for us an editor letter in the past. It was a little lengthy. He is prepared to shorten this and make it more presentable to newspapers. Maybe we should talk with him. He says he's going to do this without a fee. I've been contacting initial contacts with Florida Power and Light and their out-of-state division, Next Era. Just in regards to new technologies, as we are all aware, there are issues with the power plant. All of these older baseload plants are in the crosshairs, as was the Glen Cove area plant. I've also contacted Hector Garcia, Long Island Railroad public relations person. They have some new plans for new technologies, and I want to see what their plans are and how they might affect us. And also an initial contact with Vinny Frigeria of PSEG. We just want to say Happy New Year and have conversations with him. If we're going offline, I'm guessing we would want to be the last plant offline rather than the first. So basically, that's my report. Thank you.
Thank you, Bruce. Yeah, I'm sure we'll be working on all those initiatives come the next couple of months, and also with Suffolk County on an update on the Lawrence Aviation site and the exciting things that are happening there. Rebecca, Trustee Cassay.
Thank you. So two things mainly to report. Actually, I'm going to throw one more thing in there before I forget. It is the raised bed gardens at the community garden. The lottery is open this month, January. So if you go to portjeff.com/community garden or go to portjeff.com in the drop-down menu, you will find community gardens. This is the month to get your application in if you would like a raised bed. One of the 20 raised beds, they have deer fencing and drip irrigation, as well as organic soil in there to grow in. It was a really great first year last year with the raised bed community garden, and you can be a part of it this year by submitting your application before the end of the month. Then going back to the agenda I had planned here, the items there for the planning board on January 6th, it is in person because that is the way that it was advertised and publicized, but moving forward, it's possible that we will also be going virtual with planning board meetings. But so January 6th, this Thursday, there's going to be two public hearings, both for the Port Jefferson Free Library, one for 114 Thompson Street, where they're proposing a new outdoor education and fitness space for library patrons. And then at 205 East Main, they're proposing to construct an ADA ramp for use at a proposed new young adult center at 205 East Main. There was going to be a public hearing for the Mather Northwell project, but that has been postponed as they continue to work. So it'll be a work session instead for that project. I had a really, really wonderful meeting regarding Mill Creek and generally, the aquatic goings on of Port Jefferson Village. There at that meeting was our Mill Creek steward, Port Jeff resident Bob Larby, as well as Elizabeth Hornstein, who is the Long Island Sound Studies Sustainable and Resilient Communities Extension Professional, and she's with the New York Sea Grant. Victoria O'Neill, and she is the environmental analyst and the Long Island Sound Study Habitat Restoration Stewardship Coordinator. And Emily Hall was also there, and she is the conservation policy advocate for Seatuck Environmental Association. We discussed eels and other wildlife that have been found in the creek, in Mill Creek there. We discussed the removal of the invasive species as well as habitat, native habitat restoration in the creek. And then we also discussed for quite some time as we walked through the area flooding issues of Port Jefferson Village. And I believe it's Elizabeth Hornstein, one of the women there at the meeting is the new grant coordinator for all things, essentially aquatic, waterside activity and issues. And so she is very interested in having a meeting with the mayor and myself and Nicole Christian likely would be at that meeting to discuss grant possibilities for any issues we have regarding flooding or anything around the creek. So that was very exciting, and we'll be following up with that shortly.
That's an excellent meeting, both to maintain the creek and just, because I see the vegetation is really starting to choke it almost, and the sediment in there really is going to prevent the flow of the water, especially when we have the heavy rains and all. So that's a very important committee, and I'm glad to see you guys are getting together. Do we need a DEC permit to clear out the invasive vegetation? Do you know?
That's something that they'll guide us very clearly on, and sort of the how-tos, and so I think making a plan for Mill Creek, and then also sharing with them all of the other flood-related efforts that we have going on in the village to see if this coordinator can connect us with grants for those projects.
Okay. We have Joe, the meeting that we are doing with Grosser, which is next week. Is that correct now? Do we postpone that meeting till next week?
Yes, I believe it's the 11th.
Okay, we had PW Grosser, we had hired them about a year ago to put the camera down that main flat culvert that runs from the Barnum or the entrance to the high school all the way to the back outflow pipe behind Village Hall. And we've been talking to them about what can we be doing to the stormwater drainage systems. So we have a Zoom call set up with them. We might want to jump on this because I don't want us to be working. I think this is the type of project that all hands on deck, so to speak. In particular, when we're seeking grant money, or when you have people who are connected more to, monies from this agency versus that agency, having the engineer on board who can actually do the design work, all the specialists, and what I feel is like there's a lot of grant money right now on flooding, on this new these new initiatives, and it's not going to get any easier for us folks. So I'm glad to hear that the Mill Creek is one of the most important assets that this village has, and it has to be maintained properly. So I'm thrilled to hear that's moving forward.
Okay, yeah. If
I'll
someone
forward
could
you,
forward
I'll
me.
forward you the invite tomorrow, Rebecca.
Excellent. Thank you, Joe.
You're welcome.
I'm sorry, Stan, I seem to have skipped your name, and I apologize. So we're going to backtrack and come back to the man of the year, Stan Louts. Congratulations.
Thank you so much.
Thanks.
Is that guy on your lap going to give a report?
Well, I'm just trying to prevent him from barking and making it any noisier than it needs to be. Trust me.
Yeah. Okay. Both golf and tennis are now closed. Golf concluded one of our best seasons ever on Friday, December 31st. The well-advertised last day brought 55-degree weather, and over 150 golfers came out to our golf course to play that day. It was one of our biggest revenue days of the year, believe it or not, on December 31st. The early bird program brought in 58 new members, bringing our golf membership at the end of the year to nearly 600. The club revenue exceeded the budget, which will allow for winter projects to improve the country club facility. There will be all new screening around the driving range. The poles are already in. We're waiting till the springtime to come before we put the nets up. There will be one less winter wear on the net. We're putting the new stairways in that were approved earlier tonight. We're putting a lot of new fencing in, and Brian has outlined a number of other projects that will be taking place this winter. Our membership renewal applications have been sent out to all the present golf members. And as a reminder to the members, if you want the present rate, you have to renew by February 1st. There's going to be a $100 increase on February 2nd. And then there'll be another additional $100 increase on March 15th. If you did not receive an application, you could pick one up in the membership office. The office hours down there are Tuesday through Friday from 9 to 4 and Saturday from 9 to 12. Unfortunately, this week, the membership office is going to be closed. Danielle has the COVID. She will not be in the office this week. Sorry to hear that. It is with deep regret that we, will not be able to offer tennis memberships for the 2022 season. Notices have gone out to all of the tennis members, and I am very happy to report that for the most part, they're understanding. They know what we're facing and what we're going through. The complexities relating to the repair of the bluff have created this conclusion. I want to thank all the present tennis membership and commend the tennis board. You have made our club into the club that everyone wants to join. We reached membership totals this year that we haven't had in a number of years. It's very sad that we've been put in this position, and we sincerely hope you understand. And I'm happy to report that I believe most of the membership is very understanding. We thank you for that, and we hope that you will consider rejoining when we reach the end of this nightmare. We're not sure when that's going to happen, but we're working on it. As you heard earlier, we have a survey in the process, and things are going to start happening this winter. From the Village Center and the Recreation Department, with the closing of the country club activities, the Village Center becomes the hub of activities during the winter months. The skating rink, believe it or not, has already engaged over 10,000 skaters in 1 month. It's unbelievable, but during this past vacation week, we had lines out the door waiting for their turn to get in to skate. We have the following activities. I hope they're going to continue. There may be alterations to these programs due to this uprising COVID, but the Knights of Heron's Art Show is still going on. We've started adult fitness classes every Monday, Wednesday, Friday, and Saturday from 9 to 11. Our seniors are meeting every Wednesday at 9 o'clock. We have ceramic painting classes and many more. We have recreational activities, which include pickleball instruction, which is new, indoor kickball, adult and youth tennis programs, and more. For information regarding or relating to the country club, village center, or recreation, please visit our website at portjeff.com. Thank you.
Stan, I had a question. I know you emailed and you were exchanging briefly about it, but a lot of our programs do have non-resident pricing and
Yes.
options, and the pickleball program did not. I was just wondering why that one was unique. I had a couple of non-residents, but residents of Belterre and members of the community otherwise asking about that.
Well, I can't answer why she didn't put the non-resident prices. However, residents do have priority, and maybe she anticipated that pickleball being new is going to be, and I know it's going to be, very popular. And I think that program is going to fill up very rapidly. Our practice in the past is to offer residents only in the
Right.
beginning. If we don't fill our programs, we open it up. If you remember last summer, we had a little problem where we had some non-residents take the place of residents at our beach program, our summer program. And from that point on going forward, we're going to make sure our residents come first.
Absolutely. I wonder if having some sort of timetable on any advertisement saying, resident sign up, this date, and non-resident sign up starting whatever date, just to clarify and keep a couple of phone calls at least coming into our staff there.
Yeah, exactly. We don't want
Exactly.
to make sure we run a full program too, right? So, we don't want to program short. We'd always
Nope.
like to have the program full. So, Stan, before you leave, just make sure, bring that to Renee's
I
attention. If
will.
it's full,
Thank
it's
you,
full.
Stan.
Kathy, and I'm sorry, you had, I know you were having technical difficulties. Did I cut you off on your report, or?
No, you didn't. I wasn't going to report anything because I am having trouble and I'm afraid I'm going to cut out. But I did want to just mention that one thing that I'm working on, and we have a meeting tomorrow with the Business Improvement District, is the upcoming Ice Festival. Something fun and exciting to look forward to. I'm working on rearranging some of the decorations in town with our Parks Department, to kind of take down the holiday decorations and make it look a little more snow and ice and winter worthy. So that's happening this week and next. And the bid meeting is tomorrow night to start firming up the plans for that.
By the way, I just, a special thanks. I know there was a shout out before and a letter, and, the village, looks so great this holiday season with the additional lighting, the additional garland. So thanks to Bid for helping us purchase all these additional items. Thank you for working with the Parks Department, Kathy Ann, and on taking it up a level. And of course, the loss of our village gardener. We had to come in with somebody to help us plant all of our planters, and it looked really, really gorgeous. And I think that really added a lot to everybody's spirits over the holiday month. So thanks for your help on that. Greatly appreciated.
You're welcome. It was a lot of fun.
It's always feels good to feel good, right?
Yeah.
Attorney Egan, Brian, how are you doing?
Good. Thank you, Mayor. No report from me tonight, but I just wanted to say that you could see how despite the stressors of COVID, the village government has to go on and the work has to be done. There's an enormous amount going. So I have no report tonight, but just wanted to thank you for William's little stress relieving guest appearance there. So that was good. So thanks for that. Happy New Year.
Happy New Year. Did I see you guys down in Miami?
Yes, that was our New Year's Day trip. So that was fun.
Wow.
80
It's nice.
degrees and dry, unlike what today is in Port Jefferson.
Oh, yeah, and this whole past week has just been so dreary.
Yes.
I think tomorrow we're going to see a little sunshine. I'm going to be like, what is that? It's the sun? Wow. That makes a big.
Thank you, Mayor.
You're welcome. Joe, Mr. Palumbo, how you doing? What you got
Doing
going on?
great, Mayor. Thank you.
What you got going on over there? You got a lot going on always.
A lot going on. Nothing new to report. I think I spoke enough tonight.
I think it was your daughter, you and your wife, and brought the kids to the village, and you guys are having lunch. She looked really comfortable sitting in my chair up there.
She loves it. She loves visiting Village Hall. She loves sitting on the dais. Fred had given her a patch and Gia a patch, which they present to me on a daily basis now, like they're arresting me. So they had a great time.
That's
and we
great.
got to visit one of the local restaurants, and
Nice.
they all enjoyed it. So we actually went to Pasta Pasta. It was very good.
Very good. That's good choice. You can't miss that pasta. It's really interesting because when the kids, the Cub Scouts come through every once in a while, we give tours of Village Hall, and we start down at the village clerk's office, and we always show them the vault. And then we pick a birthday. We see who was born, and we pick a birthday. And we try and find the original birth certificate, down there, and they're just their eyes go crazy. And then we show them the treasurer's office counting all the money. We used to play around with the tokens, the parking tokens. They thought it was money. They were like crazy,
Right.
but nothing sitting in the mayor's chair with the gavel. It's to get them every time. So
She did not want to get up.
hey, listen, public service, it's a bug. You get it early. You got to, get injected into their blood while they're still young before they think, they straighten up.
Well, that's why we all do it, right?
Yeah. It's a labor of love, let's say, right? So it's good to see your family well and everybody. Hopefully that you had a nice, happy New Year as well.
We did, thank you.
You're welcome. Denise, happy birthday.
Thank you. Thank you.
Did you do anything special on your birthday?
We went to the new Ruth Chris restaurant by the mall.
Oh, nice. How was it?
Very good. One in the
Good for you.
city's very good. This one's just as good. So
Excellent.
But I
Good to hear.
recommend dining in the village though.
I know you have a few popular local spots. I got
I do. Yes, I do.
So how you doing? Anything you want to report to us this year? New year?
Like you say, we're working on the budget. Doing the worksheets for all the department heads. We're meeting with them with the next 2 weeks. And also good news, we got our $324,000 in for chips for all the road paving. So
But fantastic. I love that you get that money in early for us. The chips
yeah.
money is, the more roads that we pave, the state helps us give us that money back
Yep.
to help incentivize us to maintain our roads. So this
And they
money
do
helps us.
They have 2 programs also with chips. They have Pave New York, and they also have the winter emergency money we get too.
That's good.
So that's why it's up a lot.
Yeah.
more.
So if people who don't really know that there's this big sand and salt shed in the back of DPW. I don't know, it's like 30 feet high, 40 feet high, loaded with sand and salt right now. And that stuff is not cheap. So, whenever we can get this assistance money, that's why, your office is great. They're always looking for the money and making sure it gets into the bank early. So thank you for that.
Absolutely.
Every time I hear we get a check, it makes me very happy.
I tell you.
And I feel like it keeps going up and up and up, right? I mean, you keep,
Yeah.
good, good.
Yeah, it was
Excellent.
220, I think, a couple of years ago. Now it's 324. So
And by the way, how's our mortgage tax revenue doing?
it's actually doing very well. Let's see.
So for those of you, other than, taxes, there are revenue lines, and some have been just strong and others have been waning off because of COVID. But mortgage tax revenue, we get a proportionate share of every time somebody takes out a mortgage in the village, they pay New York State a mortgage tax. And a portion of that comes back to where the property is actually located. And I have to tell you, my mom's years when she was mayor back in 99 and the early twos, right? 2001, 2002, something, I can't remember, 99, I think. She had a budget of like, maybe, I think it was like 4 to 6 million, nowhere near what we have now. But I think like 17% of her budget was mortgage tax revenue. Because everybody was building and buying back then, like it was booming, right? So when I took office, I think mortgage tax revenue line was like 340, but the revenue that came in, because it was, don't forget, 2009 was the year of the big freaking bust, right? The balloon popped and the market went upside down. The mortgage tax revenue, I think, dipped down to maybe 240 in real dollars that came into us. So if we went from $1 million down to $240,000, what did we budget each year for mortgage tax revenue?
We budgeted 370,000 and we took in so far 484,000.
Yes.
And we still have one more payment coming in.
That's good news, guys. That means that two things: people are buying in Port Jefferson, they're spending money, they're taking out mortgages. That's not maybe the best news, but being in the industry, like for instance, last week we closed on a property, and the young couple, the woman, she works at Stony Brook University studying oceanography, and her husband or significant other is an engineer, and he does builds. He had just worked on the Sandy initiatives to help build the floodgates in the tunnel as a result of Hurricane Sandy. So he's an engineer, and so these young professionals are coming in here. They buy the houses and they spend a little money, but they pay mortgage tax, and we get a proportionate share of that mortgage tax. And the good news is, with the market being as strong as it has been with the 2020 COVID market, that's one budget line that I'm also happy to say is exceeding its budget, and we still have one quarter yet to come. Might be a little bit slower because it's end of year, but you never know. So that's also good news. Thank you for giving me good news today, Denise.
Bye.
Okay. Barbara Sakovich, how are you?
Good, Margot. How are you?
I'm good. Now, I just heard some bad news from you today that you're not getting to spend time with your granddaughter.
I am not.
That breaks my heart.
Breaks my heart too.
You have the most delicious, gorgeous little grandbaby, Eloise. She is just the apple of your eye. And it just breaks my heart that you cannot see her.
I know, but we're going to wait till this surge is over so we can safely meet. So maybe in a month or two.
So, and the other part of that, there's a flip side. There's good news because she has a brother on the way.
There's a brother on the way. Maybe it'll be a 2-for-1 trip. Who knows? We'll see.
Yeah,
but thank you.
Listen, I hope you get to go to Florida.
I hope so too.
Because I haven't seen you in 6 weeks, and I miss you.
I know, right? I miss you too. Maybe I'll see you this week.
Maybe. What do you got to report for us?
The only thing is the next meeting, which will be the afternoon meeting. It'll be 3:30 on Tuesday, January 18th, as the Monday is the Martin Luther holiday. And we will be Zoom again, so everyone will get their Zoom invite.
Great. Okay. So also just, we moved these meetings to 6 o'clock. Again, because the sun goes down at 4:30 and you feel like it's already midnight at 6 o'clock, public session starting at 7. There's been conversation amongst some of us about when spring comes and the days lengthen, having the first meeting of the month go even earlier, starting our business meetings at 5. Some of our business meetings, the last couple of meetings, they tended to run late. And we do have a lot of things going on, folks, and we need to take time together. Budgets coming up, larger projects. And so that's a conversation to be continued because, those of us who either are coming from employment can come from one job to the other, grab a bite to eat. We're happy to order some sandwiches and keep the progress going, but to be continued. So Tuesday, January 18th, 3:30 in the afternoon. We'll send out the Zoom link. And again, people can listen, they just don't participate in an open forum on that second meeting, but we welcome everybody's comments and suggestions. It's 6:54. Kevin, do we have people in the,
We won't know until we go live at 7. I'm going to suggest with 5 minutes left, you end this meeting when you'd like, and then just everybody mute and turn their video off. We'll come back on in 5 minutes and light it up. That's what I would suggest at this point. I'm not going to.
okay, so Brian, I have a question for you though, because I'm not technically adjourning or closing this meeting. Do I adjourn the business portion of the meeting?
No, you can just call the 7 o'clock session to order. I think we take Kevin's recommendation, everyone shuts off their microphones, shuts off their videos, reconvenes at 7 o'clock, you can call it back to order.
So basically it would be as if we're downstairs, we're taking a potty break before we go upstairs.
Yep.
All right.
Because we want to make sure our recorder's on too.
Technical question. What do we do? Sign out of this?
Don't do anything. Nope.
Nope, just mute your camera and shut your camera off and mute your, shut your video off and mute your microphone just for a second.
Yep,
Back
you can
at
just,
7.
all right, we'll be back.
Okay, sounds good. Hi, Accurate. It's Kevin. We're going to
Hi,
start
Kevin,
prompt.
how are you?
Good. We are live, so we're just going to stand down, mute, and shut off camera until 7. 4
Got it.
minutes. 4 minutes. Thank you so much. Okay, everyone, it's 7 o'clock. We're back. And we'll wait for the mayor to start the 7 p.m. session. Accurate, you're good?
Can you
Yes,
hear me?
sir.
Yep, I hear everyone. Everybody's here. All right, we have 3 attendees.
Sorry, guys. It takes a little longer to get to the bathroom and back these days. So 3 attendees. Hi, Fred. Chief Lute, how are you tonight? Chief Lute in the room?
I'm asking Chief to unmute. We'll see if that happens because we're all just kind of getting back to Zoom, so we'll see. If not, Chief, if you can hear me, you can dial in by phone and that will give you audio. That's on your email.
I think, Fred, Chief, are you there? Chief Lute, Fred? Okay. Well, when Chief gets his audio, we'll ask him if he has anything to report. I know it's been quiet, which has been nice the last couple weekends. A nice holiday season, great shopping season. I think the merchants did really well. Weather was fantastic, and now the last week it's been a little quiet. I think over the holiday, the New Year's Eve holiday, the weather kind of dampened things down a bit. Kevin, do we have anybody in the room who has a question or comment? If they would want to raise their hand and you can invite them in.
Sure. Anybody that's listening, I see a hand by Michael Mart, so we'll allow Michael in. Stand by, Michael, please. Okay, here comes Mr. Mart. Michael, unmute, please. Thank you.
Good evening.
Oh, Michael, how are you tonight?
I'm doing well. How are you?
Good. I'm feeling better every day, getting stronger. Happy New
Good.
Year.
Same to you.
Thank you.
That you're asking me, offering people to speak at the beginning. Does that indicate a change in the agenda, that this will be a permanent, that we can speak before the meeting as well as staying through the meeting? And
We had the business portion of the meeting this evening, Michael, was at 6 p.m. with the public forum at 7 p.m.
Right.
So we were live on Facebook and YouTube, I'm sorry, for the 6 o'clock portion for everybody to participate in here. Unfortunately, moving back to Zoom, we've just felt going remote right now with the rise in the Omicron, whatever, the COVID was in everybody's best interest to keep us all healthy and safe. So that's going to continue more than likely for January, February, possibly into March. And then the 3:30 meetings, of course, will be there'll be a link for you to listen to the dealings of the Village of Port Jefferson as we have done in the past.
Well, I appreciate the opportunity to speak early on because I do have other things to do this evening, but I will listen to as much as I can. I understand that the rental issue, both transient and in general, is being worked on by Attorney Harris. And was there an indication as to when there may be a discussion and then public hearing on that?
The good question, Michael. I think Mr. Harris only circulated, and Attorney Egan, I'll let you comment, I think it was last week to the Board of Trustees, which was the first time I had seen, and I honestly haven't even reviewed it yet because I think it was on New Year's Eve practically. But we plan on circulating that and touching the board. We'll touch base on that at our next business meeting to look at that. Allison hadn't even seen it, so we're all just seeing it for the first time. Brian, do you want to comment?
Oh, that's exactly correct.
Yeah, so I think we're going to revisit it, Michael, at our next business meeting. And by the way, the next business meeting is Tuesday, January 18th. Monday is Martin Luther King Day, the 17th. So it'll be on the 18th at 3:30. And you'll probably hear some discussion on it at that point. And I'm not, maybe at that meeting will be when we are ready to set a date for public hearing. May not be. I'm not quite sure. Again, none of us have really seen Mr. Harris's first pass at this code revision.
Very good. I understand it's the first pass, but it's a move in the right direction. I appreciate that.
Yep.
And the other thing, question I had, I noticed that there have been some cameras being put around the village, one on East Main Street next to the walkway leading up towards the library from the resident-only lot. Is there, the purpose of that is? the
Well, we have,
motivation-
sorry?
The motivation for that?
Oh, so we had a grant from NYSERDA. We had just done all the LED lighting. And part of what they did is they offered a sweetener. And they were offering us the ability to add more cameras, some other types of technology things. Each one of our LED lights, for instance, has a node at the top of it so we can dim the lights and control them. Additional cameras were part of our public safety initiative. Either Kevin or Joe, if you guys want to report, I don't know how many additional cameras have been installed, but I would really like to and appreciate seeing, you know, the map of where all the cameras are and are we done? Or are we getting close to being finished?
Okay. The other thing that I wanted to mention, and I mentioned this to Mr. Palumbo, about the light at the corner of, what is that, Liberty? Or Old Post Road, Liberty, I think, and Main Street. And the street sign was put up, Mr. Palumbo. I thank you very much for attending to that. I know you had to work with the Department of Transportation on that. But there's still an issue of when you're standing at the dental office, that corner, and you want to come towards the CVS, as a pedestrian, you cannot see what the light is, if it's in your favor or not. It really has to have a walk, don't walk, press button, you know, button that you can press so that you know when it's all right to walk. I know that they have a crossing guard there during the school days. It's very important, but at other times it's not. So again, that would be with the Department of Transportation, New York State.
Right, so can I just comment on that, Mayor?
Of course, yes, please.
So, hi, Michael, it's Joe Palumbo. How are you?
Good, thank you.
So I've been in contact with the DOT with respect to this request. I also visited the location with our DPW Superintendent, Steve Gallagher. I've had some communication back and forth with DOT. They were talking about extending the curb on the northern side of the street there in order to accommodate a pole for a light signal, as well as taking some private property on the southern side, which would be some of the parking lot there or some of the curb. I don't have the full details on what areas they were looking at, but in my review there with Steve, I think we may possibly have a good alternative that we're going to present to DOT, which we believe, if they agree, would not require much work on their part, including narrowing that road to add a curb to accommodate some new posts and lighting fixtures. So it would require moving back one of our Dickens fixture into the bed on the CVS property and then installing the light signal in that exact location. Obviously, we'd have to get we'll get approval from Gito because it would be on that property. And also we would have to have DOT consider that as a viable alternative. So we are working on that, Mr. Mart. As you can expect, it does take a little bit of time dealing with outside entities, but it's not forgotten. And, you know, hopefully we'll come up with some type of solution for that location.
Very good. I appreciate that. And I assume that you've looked at it and recognized the problem as well, that you cannot see the light that's in your favor or not when you cross.
I can see that it could be a potential problem there. Yes.
Okay,
Right,
thank you. Yes.
I want to make sure I understand the issue. So I'm standing at that corner looking to cross Old Post or Liberty,
Yeah.
get to CVS, and there's no fixture for me facing me that says walk or don't walk.
Correct. There's no pedestrian signal there. Correct.
Not only that, Mayor, not only that, Mayor, but you cannot see if the light is even in your favor because you look
Right, 'cause-
up and it's beyond you.
Got it.
Behind you.
Okay.
Very
Right.
dangerous.
Well, nothing can be done about that particular light, but possibly we'll be able to get a pedestrian signal. This way you could see whether you should be walking or not walking.
Right. It's a
Absolutely.
it's a question of safety. Someone could get could get hurt there. Thank you very much.
You're welcome. Thank you, Michael. Thanks for bringing that to our attention.
You're welcome.
Do we have anybody else, Kevin? Has Fred been able to join us?
Yeah, yes, Fred is on. He's on audio.
Okay, can
Hi,
you
Fred.
hear me?
How are you?
Yep, we got you.
Okay, very good. Yeah, ran into some technical difficulties. My apologies.
That's okay. You know, we're all getting back into Zooming and we're all a little rusty, so don't worry about it.
Of
Happy
course.
New Year, Fred. How you doing?
Happy New Year. We're all doing good here. Everyone is healthy and safe, which is good. Looking forward to a healthy and happy New Year.
So I did report that you and I touched base a little bit and you know, there was nothing really you know, terrible or important to report. That we had a really good holiday season here in the village. Very safe, a robust you know, activity, lots of people, happy people shopping, dining, enjoying this beautiful village and it's all its decorative joy. And that, you know, the last week with the sort of dismal weather kind of put a damper on things, no pun intended. And that we had a quiet New Year's weekend. Is that correct?
Yeah, from everything we saw, we had a great turnout. We had nothing but great comments as to, you know, how beautiful the village looked. I'm sorry, I'm getting a lot of reverb here. I'm just trying to adjust my audio.
It's okay. From a public safety perspective, your crew, you did a great job. And I think, you know, there was some additional activity with Dickens. We had a lot of help from Suffolk County, you know, with the various parades associated with the end of year. Did an outstanding job. Santa Claus came to town with the chamber. It was a really good holiday season. So I thank you for your service, your entire crew, and I wanted to acknowledge the 4 officers. Of course, maybe at our next meeting where we're back in person, we can distribute some proclamations. We had Johnny B, Jimmy Murdaco, Brent Brower, and who was the 4th? I'm sorry.
Wayne Bohm, Sergeant
Wayne
Bohm.
Bohm. Yes, again for their service during the not so fortunate events of earlier 2021 that took place here in this village, which were all sort of really completely out of character and tone and tenor for what we expect down in the village. So
Absolutely. And I have active video. So I do have a couple of notes, if I may.
Please do.
Some limited activity wherein people are trying to unlock car doors to enter. So
Yep.
we're telling all of our residents to please take heed this warning that lock your cars or simply pull them in your garages. If you have a garage, pull it in your garage. These are people obviously down on their luck, mostly local addicts, and they're, you know, just trying to find anything of value in your car. So if you don't want your car gone through, they're not breaking in, they're just going into open vehicles. Another thing is just a quick reminder that on 12/31/21, all of our annual resident rental permits expired. So we will give, of course, the granting the usual grace period of 30 days. So we'll begin enforcement of those on February 1st. So they should take this month to get those permits reissued, renewed.
Okay, and the rental permits, they can go online to the portal that's on
Correct.
the website and re-register for their sticker. They can either come and pick it up or they could be mailed directly to them, correct?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Also, I'd like to thank Suffolk PD for all the assistance help that they gave us during the holidays. They were here for 3 separate parades, for our Christmas tree lighting, for our closing ceremony, and in plain clothes and other units, specialized units. It was just very nice to see. They were very good to us, gave us a lot of personnel. We had more police and code presence during the holidays than we've ever had before. It was very good to see.
So Thank you, Chief. And also, I authorized the production of the challenge coins. I know that we had done this last year with Kevin and his department. He had done a beautiful challenge coin for the village of Port Jefferson. You have the challenge coins. We'd like to send them to our electeds. I know that you've dispersed them to the 6 people who help service this community. If any of the board members want some challenge coins to give to people who serve with them, or, you know, veterans or anybody, contact Fred. He'll put some in your box. And, you know, the challenge coin has become a nice collecting piece. And the one that we have this year, designed by Fred and one of the other members of our Code Enforcement Bureau, it's a beautiful challenge coin. So I appreciate the thought that goes with that, because the sentiment, I know when we sent out the challenge coins last year or 2 years ago, Kevin, I can't remember, they were really, really well received. And it's a token of our appreciation for our partners who work with us throughout the year. So I appreciate your sentiment.
Yeah, and they're being very well received. We've given some to the employees here. I delivered some to your desk and to some other employees downstairs, and very well received. Very nicely done. Thank you again for that.
You're welcome. Kevin, I think we have Mel Karzai is trying to get into the room. Do you want to invite her into the room, please?
Absolutely.
She's got her hand up. Anybody else have a question for Chief or comment, board members?
Hi, I don't know. Can you see or hear me?
Both.
Now we can.
Good
Yes,
to-
we can.
Good to go, Amal.
Okay. Sorry, I've lost all of you. I'm in Baltimore and there's a bit of snow, so it's a funny connection. But sort of same question that I've had for 20 years. The intersection of Oakwood and East Broadway help, you know, what we got the, wasn't quite placed at the intersection, but it was about, I don't know, 75 feet east of it. The portable traffic gadget, and it helped a bit. Of course, people would speed by the house first, and then they would, you know, crank to a stop or slow down a bit. But I think as they got used to it, they realized maybe there's a camera attached. I'm not sure. Something was helping slow them down a bit. And when it just started working, it disappeared. It got rolled away. So, and then I was told, I think in the last email, it looked like, I think I read the map correctly, that there would be flashing lights or something of that. I don't know if those work, but.
Yeah. So I think, Joe, we're waiting for some numbers. We have somebody doing a traffic study or giving us some idea on accidents at that particular location, correct?
Right, we received that data. There was very, very few that were reported. The traffic engineer came back with a recommendation to install 2 curve signs with speed limits, one on the coming up, so that's the east side, and one on the west side. Those have not been installed yet. They are on a list to be installed, but that was the recommendation of the traffic engineer. So let's see once those signs are up, if that makes a difference. And I'm sure, Fred, you have on your regular routine periodically throughout the season to put that traffic speed trailer in that location from time to time.
Yes, and we could not put the sign exactly where the resident wanted, because the roadway is constrained in that area, and it kind of it's a little bit too thin, and it would be a hazard and probably cause a traffic incident. So we put it as where we could, which is a little further down the road. We also had Suffolk County PD. We requested them to do as many stop and traffic enforcement area, and they've done that, and they're going to continue to do that. That still is, I believe, on their list. They put it on a list, as is California Avenue at this time. So they're paying attention to it, as are we. And once we start to get leaves in the roadway and we start to get colder weather with water under the leaves, it might as well be ice. We're fearful that cars will skid and slide on the leaves and run into these things on the side of the road, especially if they're in a tight area. So, and also the batteries for this unit are liquid batteries. And so we disconnect the unit and it gets dry docked for the winter, just out of safety for the unit and safety for the batteries and the electrical components.
So
We're talking about the safety of the unit and the safety of the street, but not the safety of the pedestrian, which has sort of been my concern all along. I think what I read on the map that I was sent in the email, are there going to be flashing speed lights? Is the idea that if you go beyond the speed limit, they flash?
There are
at you, sort of?
no flashing lights proposed for that intersection there.
So, Joe,
Actually, if you look at the last email you sent me, there's a map. And on that map, it actually says flashing lights, flashing speed lights. So that was the last information I received from whoever sent me the email.
I will go back and take a look at that email to see what was proposed, but I do not recall flashing speed lights to be installed at that location. But if there are, we'll take a look at it and revisit it.
What engineer are we working with here? Is it LKM?
It was right, yes.
Okay, so this is one of the top, street engineers. They have looked at the location. We've gotten the data from Suffolk County because typically, when you look at a roadway like this or any roadway, the data has to be there that there's traffic accidents that then take you up to the next level of what you can or can't do as far as signage. We looked at, narrowing roads by building, curbs out into the road. We're looking at as many options as we can to slow these people who are traveling. I think it's the concern is the people going eastbound, and veering onto East Broadway, correct me if I'm wrong, Amal, versus Oakwood, correct? They're just speeding around that bend, right?
Yeah. They'll come the fastest where they pick up the most. Yes, you're right, Mark. Where they pick up the most speed is driving east on East Broadway immediately after the stop sign. And I've actually, I put an app on my phone. I have a traffic app. I'm not nuts when I say they are doing 65 miles an hour in a 25-mile hour. I'm not crazy. They are, because you can record them.
Fred, the apparatus that we have does not allow us to collect data. Is that correct?
No, it doesn't allow us to collect data. Also, I didn't want to misunderstand.
I want to ask a question. How much is the component, the add-on component that will allow us to collect the data? What is the add-on? What is the cost for that add-on?
I was not involved in the purchase.
We'd have to look at that component and whether the model and unit that we have can actually accept that kind of feature. But I could look into it.
Okay.
So
basically, this is a glorified tool to slow everybody down, to pretend that they're getting a ticket. That's all it really is. It's not collecting data. It doesn't have a camera. It's I hate to say that now that everybody's going to know this, but that's basically what it is.
We do now post 2 trail cams, and in view of, because we had some vandalism, we post a trail cam on either side of that machine while it's out there. But I don't want her to think that we don't have the concern, her best interest at heart. We do. We really feel bad that this is happening. But when I said we remove it for these reasons, she had said it just disappeared. We have a whole list of roadways that are challenging to us. So we do move that trailer around. We left it there for more than 7 days, which we almost never do because we were concerned. But as we get to this part of the season, it actually presents a hazard and it could cause a traffic accident. We don't want it.
So one suggestion that I wanted to discuss, if I understand, Amal, that it did help in some fashion in that you did notice people would see it and slow down. The location was a problem because as Chief Lute said, there are only certain locations where it can go. It's quite large. And if you have it, you don't want it sticking out into the roadway where it becomes a hazard. So there's only certain locations. So I do know that we have one of those permanent speed signs heading down the hill on East Broadway. And I'm wondering if that's something we couldn't explore to put in the further west location closer to the intersection and have that there permanently. On a post, on a pole, however those are installed.
So like the one we have going down the hill on East Broadway?
Right.
Yeah.
Because they're much smaller, they can go on a post, they can go, in the location where we need it, maybe right at that intersection. As you come around, you look Oakwoods on your left and there's that corner there. So maybe that's a spot where as soon as you come around the corner, you see what your speed is.
Right. So Joe, can you review the email and review the signage that's being recommended? Let's revisit it. Let's make sure we're getting the best. Because at this point, it's either doing something actually to the roadway or more signage. That's the only thing that's going to, prevent people from speeding through. Now I was absent for the last board meeting. You had a public hearing to install stop signs up in another neighborhood. Is an additional stop sign an inappropriate tool in this location?
Yes.
They'll crash. They'll
It-
crash. They
Okay.
speed so fast immediately after that stop sign.
As soon as they come around the bend there, there'll be rear end accidents continuously, unfortunately.
It's a blind, it's a blind
Yeah.
corner.
Okay, so we'll work on signage, and if the signage doesn't work, then we're gonna have to work on doing something to the actual roadway.
But
Now,
there might, I spoke to an engineer, and there might be a like no cost solution, virtually no cost, which is simply apparently one of the things that works best is in large letters, just painting the word slow, across the street or across the lane. If you've ever approached like a pedestrian area and it just says slow and it's right in front of you. Because for whatever reason, those big bold letters, and they have to be bold, seem to work statistically much better than when there's a sign adjacent to you that, even though it's a proper traffic sign that we should understand, and it just says slow or slow down, they for some reason don't work as well as when it's right in front of you and you're driving. And that's what I was told. And I was told it's, effective and
is that a traffic engineer, Amal?
it was a traffic engineer, yeah, and it cost actually it's a civil engineer who works with traffic.
Okay. We'll ask the roadway engineer that we're working with to see if that actually works. I was asking, there are these new types of paints and ways of painting something that's actually an optical illusion. It looks like a three-dimensional, like for instance, it looks like it could be a pothole and it's not really a pothole.
I love it. You're kidding. Oh my gosh.
we were exploring a lot of different options, and we're going to help you. We're going to get to an option that actually works. That's an interesting recommendation, because you're right. A paint can and a stencil don't really cost that much, right?
It can't hurt.
Right.
Yeah, but I love the pothole idea. I'm sorry. I think a Trump Lloyd pothole is great.
As long as we have Wile E. Coyote out there, Roadrunner.
So, but we're doing the things that we unfortunately need to do. We're checking off all those boxes that get us to the point of having the best solution. So the good news is that you're not forgotten. You are still on our radar, no pun intended, and we'll get to a solution that works.
Yeah,
Promise.
Thank you.
I think that, Joe, looking into the compatibility of a record keeping system for the speed trailer would make it greatly, a greater benefit to the community, because then if we can take that data to Suffolk Police and say, hey, at this intersection, you have somebody going 65, or even, 45, 50 this often, then that's hard data that's going to drive their, where they place their cars.
Yeah, I think also it's, if it's repeat offenders, if neighbors, who live down the street, but also I think the data is a good thing to have, because it'll tell us how many cars are going at what speed limits. Anyway, appreciate it. Kevin, is there anybody else in the room tonight?
Yes, we have Anna coming in now, and then Julianne after Anna.
Okay,
Stay
great. Thank you.
tuned. Thank you, Amal.
Happy to be here.
Thank you.
Hi there. This is Anna. I don't know, can you see me? Maybe not.
Can I get a last name for Anna?
Absolutely. Hazanova, which is H-O-Z as a zebra, Y-A-I, N as a Nancy, O, V as a Victor, A. And
Thank you.
I would like to in joining this conference, I would like to express gratitude to the town for installing the 2 stop signs, one on the intersection of Hawthorne and California, and the other one on the intersection of California and Emerson. Since the installation of the stop signs following the last board meeting, we have observed that the traffic has slowed down quite significantly. And that has been quite encouraging. I also wanted to report that there has been jubilation if installation of stop signs could be considered a jubilating experience. Unfortunately, in our experience, about 1/3 of the cars that go through those intersections still continue speeding. Some just completely not stopping and ignoring them. So we're looking forward to working with the village in conducting further assessments and identifying whether the amount of traffic is indeed significant to justify any further improvements or changes to the street. But so far, I just wanted to come in and say that we as a neighborhood, and I personally as a person who lives on the corner of one of those streets, really appreciate the changes that have been made.
Anna, you're welcome, and Happy New Year to you. And I'm sorry I wasn't present at the last meeting. I'm glad that the board acted swiftly in installing the 2 stop signs. Historically, stop signs are not the best tool to actually slow down traffic. Stop signs are usually used for safety, to make sure one person is going ahead of the other in a certain manner. But we are, as you know, collecting the data is important. Working with our partner, Suffolk County, they are the only ones who can enforce the speeders. I know that unfortunately, our Officer John could not be with us this evening, or Suffolk County, but we're looking forward to getting the data that they're collecting. Fred, I know that you've been on patrol at that particular location as well, correct?
Yes, I actually have the statistics right in front of me. We over the last 2 weeks, we monitored 1,153 cars at different times of the day, afternoon, and evening. We tried to target morning hours where there would be transit to and from work, and the same thing in the evening hours. But we also did during the day several times. We would park preferably an unmarked car. Most of the time we parked on Emerson, so we could view all 3 new stop sign areas. We had 1,153 cars that we monitored. 992 either made a complete stop or made a very near complete stop, meaning they were observing the stop sign. That's 86%. 147 vehicles slowed down considerably. I would say 1 to 5 miles per hour, because that was on our survey, and then rolled through at a slow speed. That's 12.5 to 13%. And we had 14 cars drive straight through the stop signs like they never existed, which obviously we understand that's a quotient of the population that will do that regardless of what we do there. Suffolk County PD was requested to monitor these signs, agreed to do so. I was notified that a vast majority made complete stops. This is from Suffolk PD, or close to complete stops. They will continue to monitor the signs and write summons when appropriate. They also utilized an unmarked vehicle for these because they felt it was, they also found, as we did, if we put a marked unit there, everyone stopped. But if we put an unmarked car there, we did notice these slight differences in the percentages, wherein about 12 or 13% of the people slowed but really didn't make a complete stop, and 1 to 2% just drove straight through. So ongoing with Suffolk County Police Enforcement.
So thank you, Chief, for reporting that. I think that the response from the board has been amazing. And I do want to say that, you know, we are continuing to work with your neighborhood as well as Amal on these roadways and trying to come up with inventive solutions that don't involve having to have an individual sitting in a car waiting to issue a ticket, a summons, you know, ways of calming traffic that use new technology, innovative methods, narrowing roads. You know, so we did bring in the traffic engineer and gave him that location as well to look at physically to say, is there anything we can do with the roadway to narrow it or make it so that the vehicles will slow down. So again, exploring all options, and I know you have a young family as well, so we appreciate your concern. And we love that Swassa Park neighborhood. It's a great family neighborhood. So can I ask you a question? Do you think that now that the West Broadway, because I live up here on the west side, do you believe that the pavement of the roadway has either reduced the amount of people? Because we didn't know if it was being used as a cut through during this terrible condition of West Broadway.
Again, without having a proper monitoring, like Chief Constable Fred had, in our experience, the pavement of the West Broadway has somewhat slowed down the number of cars, but not significantly to actually justify, or the ending of the West Broadway happened probably middle of November, somewhere around there. And we continued seeing quite significant number of cars that were just like zooming past. Okay. And one thing that did change quite significantly based on what I've observed is that the number of trucks that go through that neighborhood since the installation of the stop signs that I've observed have dropped down. I haven't spoken to the dog walkers who usually up in the morning to report back whether they've observed any of the difference, because most of the trucks that are 16, 18-wheeler trucks, they've observed early in the morning, and we're really concerned that those are the ones who will get them. So I can't report on the changes from that, but in my experience, the number of large vehicles since the installation of the stop signs have dropped. But it also could be that it was the holiday breaks, so there were less work. So I'll be reporting back in February.
Okay, good. We look forward to seeing you again in February.
I have a question. Has a sorry, Mayor.
Sorry, Rebecca, go ahead.
Has a painted walkway, so narrowing each of the lanes to still be wide enough for vehicles, but more narrow, which is statistically been proven to have vehicles travel more slowly, but designating an area, sort of like a bike lane, but a walk lane in that neighborhood, where obviously vehicles can if not careful, swerve into it, but if they're aware that sort of that's taking up some of the roadway too. Has that been discussed?
That was something that I had suggested at one of our meetings with Anna and Sarah, as one of the many possibilities that came about from the engineer giving us the large packet of traffic calming options. So it is on the table as a potential option. It does bring its own challenges and issues where it's not a sidewalk with a curb, so it could give pedestrians a false sense of security, and God forbid somebody is traveling too fast or not paying attention and there is no barrier there at all, as a possible issue. But it is still on the table as are most of the options at this point. So yes, but I like that idea to give more of a designated area that visually helps the drivers slow down.
Our main concern with the lanes is that we want to make sure that we avoid the double yellow line as much as possible, because that kind of designates the area visually as a cut through or one of the major roads, potentially increase in the speed of the traffic. Because in our we also live not far from the old post road, which is a double yellow line, and it's virtually impossible to get the cars to slow down on that road. And the speeds that most of the cars drive there is significantly higher than the posted limit. And one of our residents was particular concern that if we will be installing any other traffic measures, that the first thing that the village will do is install double yellow line, which will make California Avenue incredibly visible for the cut through, and then presented itself as a major road. So I just wanted to highlight that as a significant concern that was shared by a significant number of residents that I've spoken with.
Yeah, we want to maintain its neighborhood character and not make it a major roadway. Again, this is a common concern in many of our neighborhoods. People are just driving, so we're looking for innovative new methods to help reduce and calm traffic. And Anna, I thank you for bringing your neighborhood to consensus and being their point guard on this initiative. And we look forward to working with you further on keeping your neighborhood safe. Happy New Year. So
Happy New Year. Thank you.
You're welcome. We have a Julianne also in the room.
Hey, Julianne. Hi. Hi, everyone.
Hey, Julianne. It's you, Julianne.
It's
Hi.
me. How is everyone? Good.
It's our record editor, and Julianne also works at our Village Center in the morning in the before and after day school program, helping our kids get, to school with a snack and a happy smile and in good hands. Happy New Year, Julianne.
I'm good. How are you?
Good.
I have a question for Chief. It might be a stupid question, but I'm working on a story. Suffolk County, right before the holiday, they passed a thing saying that. Oh no.
Whose house is that? Is that yours?
No, it's mine.
That's mine.
I have that effect. Children and animals, they just come to me. The county basically proposed this bill and they passed it saying that if you get Narcan testing kits from the Department of Health, they come with fentanyl strips now in order to protect first responders from the fentanyl, which apparently is really, really potent. And I had no idea that even if somebody's like performing CPR on somebody who's overdosing on fentanyl, they could in fact get like really sick from it or die or whatever. I was wondering if the village has those in their possession or if you guys are planning on getting those.
Yes, we've ordered those through the county. It takes quite a bit of time to get them. We still have the regular kits, but all of our personnel are fully trained and they glove up with plastic gloves so they don't touch anything on scene when they find.
Great. Okay. I was just wondering, I figured I'd ask you guys, what your plans were, because I do know that in the past there have been some savings of lives due to overdose from you guys. So that's awesome. All right. Cool. Thank you.
Thank you, Julianne. Happy New Year.
You too.
Happy New Year, Julianne.
Kevin, do we have anybody else in the room?
One more attendee coming in now, Yuri, Y-U-R-I. Coming up now. Thank you, Julianne.
Hello. Can you see me?
Yes, we can see you. And accurate reporting, you have the spelling. I'll put it in chat.
Thank you.
Yes. Hi, yes. So my name is Yuri Jadot. I live at the Highlands in Upper Port. So we're having a similar issue to what was presented earlier in terms of roadways and whatnot. So by the train station at Oakland Avenue and the corner of Oakland and Highlands, there's no sidewalk. There's a sidewalk, thank God, but there's no crossing. So it's very hard to cross that street. Like you have to wait a good 5 minutes, especially when the train just has arrived. So I had mentioned this in the resident, online portal thing, whatever. So it would just be nice if there's like a crosswalk added there or something that indicates that people can walk there as opposed to waiting, 5 minutes to cross the street. So yeah, that was.
Yuri, I'm glad you're bringing this up. With the new project that's being built, you can see on a daily basis now, I think the third level just started. We will be installing or putting in a new road named Station Street. It'll be a brand new roadway that comes in Highland Boulevard. We are hoping to align with Station Street to kind of create like a town square. But in the interim, because things never happen quickly anywhere, we will definitely look into seeing if we can add a crosswalk there, because I think that would be, with a new resident population moving in, and I think also a project going underway on the next corner over on Perry. We'll look into that, and we'll see if we can actually get some help with some funding. But putting in a crosswalk for you guys is I can see the need for it. Are you commuting into the city, or are you just trying to take a walk to uptown?
Both. So I work in Newark and at Stony Brook, and I walk uptown as well. So it's just nice.
Yeah.
I'll just walk. So yeah.
Right, but when you get to the end of Highlands Boulevard, you're basically, you don't have any direction, right? I mean, you're kind of like, okay, where do I cross the road? I get it.
Pretty much, yeah. And also, I just want to thank Kathy Ann for the new signs, like the holiday signs on Highlands. It gives it a nice sort of very homely village vibe. So good job on that. Thank you for doing that.
Very welcome.
Yeah.
Excellent. Thank you, and Happy New Year. Thanks for attending.
Thank you.
Anybody else, Kevin, in the room?
Donald Pollock coming in. Donald Pollock no longer coming in. Don, if you want to raise your hand, it was raised before. Just let me know if you still want to come in. Just raise that hand one more time. Maybe your question was answered. Yep, here he comes. Mr. Pollock.
Is he coming in video or just audio?
Hopefully he's coming in some way, shape, or form anytime soon. I have to tell you, Zoom is a little slow today. Don, I'm trying. I'm promoting you. Hit it several times.
Yeah, Don's had trouble in the past getting in on audio. I think he calls.
Don, I'm going to allow you to talk. It's easier. Just unmute, Don, and you can speak. Can you unmute, Don, if you can hear me? Yeah, there you go.
Can you hear me now?
Yes,
Yep.
we can.
Okay,
Yes.
I'd like to wish everybody a very happy new year and a healthy and safe one also.
Thank you very much. Likewise, Don.
You're very welcome. But I'd like to bring up, something that I've been bringing up for quite a few years now. And that's the intersection of Edgewood, Columbia, and North Country Road. I know everybody all the trustees are familiar with what I'm about to say. They speed, number one. They go through the red lights, number two. Suffolk County comes there and they say they don't see anything because they come with a marked car. I understand now from listening to tonight's meeting that our constables have been able to use an unmarked car. All right, I would appreciate if you would do a count the way you've been doing the count at the stop signs, if you would do it at the double lights.
Okay.
It's a dangerous situation. Go ahead, Fred.
You'd like to see if people are running those lights.
Oh, I know they're running them. I want other people to see. Because Suffolk County PD goes there. They go with a marked car, and just like when you use a marked vehicle, everybody stops at the lights.
Yeah.
Okay, and they have not been able to provide the one unmarked car that Suffolk County says that they have to this intersection. It goes on every day. It goes on when Mather and St. Charles, during the shift changes, that's when it's most prevalent. The second time is all.
Would you like us to initiate contact with Suffolk County PD? I can do that at the inspector's level, and I can ask him to have unmarked cars, enforce this and see what we come up with.
I would appreciate.
Yeah,
I would appreciate that.
I'll take care of that.
Go ahead.
Yeah, we'll do that, Don. We'll report back to you with our findings. Listen, every single concern is speeding, and we're trying to explore ways that we can manage this. And, unfortunately, it's out of our hands, and we're, even to the point where I asked Supervisor Steve Malone, we'd be happy to install some Suffolk County speed cams. Hey, translate to rep immediately. But that didn't really go anywhere because they have to be on county roads. They can't do it on a village road.
Because
Anyway.
running red lights and speeding, two very dangerous situations.
Absolutely.
My second question is to Mr. Palumbo. Okay, what is the reasoning behind the topographic and surveys at the country club and the village property at Highland Boulevard?
Well, I think I can answer that, Don.
Okay, whoever wants
yeah.
it.
Yeah. So the topographical survey is necessary at the country club because we have severe erosion issues, and we've gotten some varying reports from all different engineers that we need to do we need to look into the stormwater runoff and protect the bluff from water erode, stormwater runoff coming off hardscape and going down the bluff. And, we want to install some French drains or other types of drainage features. We can't really do that without a topographical survey. That's number one. Number two, also, because we are losing the top 4 tennis courts because they're right on the precipice of the bluff at this point.
Right.
We're going to have to turn them to create two, instead of running lengthwise, we're turning it to have 2 running, longitude to latitude. And we're trying to explore whether or not on that west side, if there's a way to install maybe another tennis court. But again, drainage is critical and we can't do anything without a topographical survey. So that's the country club. The 6 acres, we have a committee and there's a group of residents looking at, putting in a passive sort of arboretum to have like a quiet walking area. I mean, they're going to be making a presentation and a recommendation to the Board of Trustees. We don't have a survey on that 6-acre parcel whatsoever. So the topographical survey will give us a lot of information about the terrain there and what can be planted there, if there's anything, if there's infrastructure beneath that needs to be dealt with. These are all village-owned properties, parkland, and for us to have the information about these lots, if you will, it's critical to being able to manage our property better.
Okay, that answers that question, but I would like to make a comment about protecting the bluff.
Mm-hmm.
I have a friend, who 15 years ago, maybe 20 years, I'd say closer to 20 years ago, spent hundreds of thousands of dollars, he lives in Miller Place, and and his property went right to the bluff. And no matter what he did, no matter what engineering firm he had come in, they spent, like I'm telling you, hundreds of thousands of dollars for steel, for telephone poles, and guess what? The bluff is still disappearing to this day. Okay, so I think that's something that it should be stopped, but I think also some thought might be, to move the tennis courts completely, rather than longitude, latitude changes, because the bluff is going to continuously erode no matter what you do, because you're not going to stop nature with it.
Right. So we're talking if we just simply pivot the courts, we're pulling away. Stan, correct me if I can't remember the total number of linear footage. We're actually coming away from the bluff without actually having to, reconstruct or build or add fencing to another area. How far are we going to be away from the bluff at that point?
We will be 50 to 65 feet away from the bluff.
Right. So it's an easy way to have, 2 tennis courts, at a reasonable cost and staying away from the bluff. On the other side, it's not as easy as that, Don, and we're concerned with behind the building now, behind the facility.
That's a major concern. The thing is, if you can stop it,
I understand. We've been throwing a lot of money at some of the top engineers, and it's a very complex issue, and there's not a good answer to any of this, unfortunately.
It's unfortunate, yes, it's very unfortunate. But
Yeah.
thank you very much.
You're welcome, Don. Happy New Year. I hope you're feeling better.
Yes, thank you again.
Happy New Year, Don.
Thank you. Happy New Year to you all.
Kevin, do we have anybody else in the room tonight?
That's it. We have Mr. Miller in our room. That's it.
You're on mute.
Unmute, Mr. Mr. Miller, please unmute. Please unmute.
Okay. I'm sorry. I was told if I hold the space bar down, that would work, but apparently not. Okay. I've talked to some environmental experts, working with the government. And basically what they're saying is that if you're going to retain a bluff, if you not retain in terms of putting structure in to keep it from sliding, but retaining in the sense of not letting it go and losing it, you really need to cut the hill back to about a 45-degree angle. Otherwise, you're just going to get undermining and sliding. And if we make decisions for the future, just maybe take that into consideration. Thank you.
You're welcome. I think the plans show for, I'm pretending that's a 45-degree angle to be kind of tiered and planted. So, we'll make sure you have a copy of the final plans when we circulate. And Joe, I think what we need to focus on, Stan, Kathy Ann, Barbara, all of us, I would like to put together a sheet of frequently asked questions. I think that would be a very positive thing for us to do with respect to this whole bluff issue, because, we've talked about it a lot with a lot of different, groups, organizations, and I think we're going to need to have a document like that, published in the very near future. Okay, so any other comments, concerns, good wishes?
Don does have his hand up again. Mr. Pollock has his hand up again.
Second thoughts?
Okay, Mr. Pollock, come on in. Unmute.
That was an error.
It was an error. Okay. Happy New Year.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
All right, kids. So making a motion to adjourn the meeting at 7:57. Is there a second?
Make that.
Trustee Casais has seconded the motion. All in favor? Have a great night, guys. Welcome to 2022.